Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Douglas Luiz, is he a problem for Thiago Motta? Why is Douglas Luiz not starting games yet at Juventus? This is a question that we'll try to answer in today's video. Then Conceicao, crack, ADZIC back, Koopmeiners is ready. These are the topics that we'll cover in today's video. 17 seconds of intro. I think this is a short record of this channel because usually I take my time, 1 minute, 1 minute 30 to really explain you what we'll go through in today's video. Well, today I did really fast. You know what we'll do with the time that we won? We'll put a maximum of like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. For what reason? Because we are that close to reach 33,500 Juventini of the world on the channel. I am counting on you to reach it today. Now that we did the basics and we won a lot of time, let's speak about Federazione Italiana Gioco Calcio, because they did something that I want to applaud. Usually I'm the first one to blame them, to say what a bad decision, what a bad idea, what a bad initiative. Now this time I have to say congratulations. No, it's not like Corriere dello Sport is trying to sell us, because looks like yesterday they were the draws of who will play against who in Serie A. It's something that we already knew. Look at that. Scudetto è qui. Pay attention. Euro incroci. Now we know when they will play Serie A games and when they will play the Champions League games or the Euro games. Who will play against who before that game of Champions League? Who will play against who after? These are things that we already knew. So you don't need to go and buy or to open Corriere dello Sport. What is new and what am I applauding? The fact that from now on we know from match day 4, so after the international break, until match day 13, what timing, what day your favorite team will play. And that's really a great one. Is it changing our life? A bit in terms of preparation. We know if we will play on a Saturday or on a Sunday, but especially for us, the supporters, the tifosi, for travel, for hotel, for the game. It's really important because usually, especially in Italy, we need to wait until the really last moment to understand if we need to take one more night of hotel, breakfast. It costs a lot of money. This time you can already plan. When do you want to go to a game? When and how much in advance do you need to book all the things? If you want to go for a visit, when you are visiting Torino, for example, il museo, from the cars, or from Egizio, when you want to visit La Mole, it's super important. So brava Federazione, beautiful initiative. So what do we know when you are looking at these calendars? Two things. The first one is Juventus will play a lot of games on Saturday, and a lot of games will be played at 6 p.m. Italian time. That's probably one of the newness. We already played a lot of games on Saturday because of Champions League in the past when we were participating. But now on top of that, at 6 p.m. Italian time. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? The only bad thing that I see is that after Saturday games or Sunday game at 6 p.m., you still have one more game to play in Serie A. And I love that when Juventus is playing, Serie A is or the day is over so that I can only focus on Juve. Now, you always need to pay attention or you are missing a game because you're still doing the debrief of Juve. That's the only thing. We already played 3 games before international break. When we will resume Serie A, we have a block of 6 games. Then we play again, block of 7 games, and then it's over with the international break for 2024 before the next one in the month of March. Saturday, the 14th at 6 p.m. Empoli, something that we already knew. We play Champions League, and then that's what the newness, what we discovered today. On Saturday, the 21st, again at 6 p.m. Italian time, the big game against Napoli that I can't wait, of course, to play with Antonio Conte back in the Allianz Stadium, not as a Juve coach, not as an Inter coach, but this time as a Napoli coach. Again, Saturday to 28 on 6 p.m. I will not go through all the list, but what you can see, what I just told you, a lot of games Saturday, 6 p.m. I can't wait, of course, for Sunday, 27, but still at 6 p.m. against Inter. I can't wait also for Milan-Juve, again on a Saturday at 6 p.m. Italian time. You can go towards the calendar. If you press pause, you can see all the games, and you can start writing them down if you want to go to a game or not. Then you will tell me, Beppe, but why are you speaking about all these kind of things? Look at Gazzetta dello Sport. They already decided who will win the Scudetto. Gazzetta dello Sport, votiamo Inter. We vote for Inter. And usually I will tell you it's again a Gazzetta dello Sport Inter propaganda. If you're looking at the paper, there is more blue than pink. On the other side, I have to tell you that this time, I think that they are really the favorites for a Scudetto. They are really the number one favorites for a Scudetto. They have a team that knows each other. They even implement two players that can't wait to start because they are really starters, Zielinski and Taremi. They did really well. They are starting also really well their Serie A. They are at 7 points like Juve. I think that they are the favorites. So it will be tough. It will be really a big challenge to be able to compete against them. And we will need to be ready for everything. And also we'll need to have our team really complete, because it's true that we were lacking in terms of quantity. We added them in the end of the mercato, so these players need to recuperate. They need to go fast to accelerate what they missed of that summer preparation, but we need to be ready, and we need to have most of the players, or if possible all the players at disposal, to be able to fight against Inter, not giving up at match day 3, but believing until the end that we can actually change that blue paper of Gazzetta dello Sport in a black and white paper. Allarme Conceicao, and that's where we start immediately with an alarm of Conceicao that yesterday we heard muscular injury, which is a pity, because I was extremely happy that he was not going with Portugal. I was extremely happy that he stayed in La Continassa to continue to train, to fill the gap that he was missing from that summer preparation. It's a pity because today we will know how long he will be missed. The rumors are already saying that he will miss Empoli and the first game of Champions League. He started really well, and these 45 minutes started extremely well for Francisco Conceicao. Well, it's something that we'll have to wait a bit more to see him on the field. It's a pity. Am I extremely worried? Well, yesterday during the live we went to the chronology of his injury. It's not a player that is made of glass. It's not a player that had a lot of injuries, but it's true that it's a player that, if you're looking at the chronology of his injury, is a player that usually when he's injured is missing these kind of 4 or 5 games in the beginning of the season, between the start and the first international break, or a bridge with that international break. So looks like it's something usual for Francisco Conceicao to be injured in the beginning of the season, and then when it's over, he goes. So I'm not really in an alarm, even if it's really a pity. On the other side, we win back ADZIC, and I can't wait, because it's a player that when we started to sign players in the beginning, a lot of us were speaking about ADZIC, the new jewel, that new fantastic player that we want to discover. Because of that injury after that first game against Nuremberg, we didn't see him anymore, and it's a real big pity, and we didn't speak anymore about him. Well, I can tell you, wait for ADZIC. That can be a really important asset. The guy has undubious talent, so I can't wait for him. But the one that we are all waiting for, of course, is Douglas Luiz, because he's, with Koopmeiners, the most expensive signing of this summer, of Cristiano Giuntoli. If we were all expecting Koopmeiners to join Juve, Douglas Luiz came out of nowhere. Really in the beginning of the mercato, but still out of nowhere. When the first time that I mentioned Douglas Luiz here on the channel, a lot of people said, Beppe, what are you speaking about? Is it clickbait? Well, it was not clickbait, because at the end the Brazilian one joined. We were expecting to see him, especially because every time that he's playing, we see qualities in him that we didn't see in other players. He's totally different, and probably that's one of the reasons why he didn't start yet with Juve. Douglas Lezioni di Motta, he needs to go to the lessons of Thiago Motta. What are the reasons why he didn't start yet? The first one, I think, is really tactically. During the summer, we saw that we were conceding a lot of goals. 7 goals in summer friendly, where a lot of people were saying, Beppe, but what is happening? Why are we conceding that many goals from teams that probably should never even think to enter the box of Juve? Well, Thiago Motta, that I always told you, is a balanced coach. He doesn't like to concede. What Bremer said in front of microphones after the 3 first games of Serie A, he said, look, Thiago Motta is extremely happy for the defensive phase, not conceding. We only had like 2 shots on target against, and that's something that we are really proud about, because then up front with the creativity, with the players, we will do something. So he's really paying attention to that defensive phase first. The one that are conceding the less in Serie A, usually they win the Scudetto. So he was looking for balance, and with Locatelli and Thuram, at the moment, it was a balance that he found back. Then he inserted Fagioli. Why? Because Fagioli and Locatelli, they know each other so long. So what are the reasons? First, because knowledge of Serie A, 1. Balance tactically, and secondly, because yes, he can do some defensive role, but it's not the most pressing player. What is he doing in defensive phase, Douglas Luiz? He's keeping the ball. He has that possession that none of the players have. Maybe a bit Fagioli, but Douglas Luiz much more. Keeping the ball in possession, that's one of his defensive skills. Keeping the ball, not being dribbled, not being attacked, and then going to the left, to the right, or vertical, whatever, because he has a really beautiful vision of play. But probably Thiago Motta from the beginning of the game, where I already told you in the 3 first games of Serie A, we are really slow. We are like a diesel. Well, that's probably the moment where Thiago Motta is asking a bit more pressing. And this is probably at today what Douglas Luiz is missing a bit. Also because physicality. Physicality, surely he arrived after the other ones, together with Danilo. Danilo is also not playing at the moment, because that physical preparation, probably at the moment, if we are asking a lot of intensity, he has not these 90 minutes in his leg. So balance, pressing, possession, knowledge of Serie A, knowledge of his teammates, and the 90 minutes. So am I seeing it as a real problem, Douglas Luiz? No. Of course, if I don't see him starting against or Empoli or PSV in Champions League, I will start asking me more questions. But I'm sure that Thiago Motta will work a lot with them during these days of international break, and that's why I'm extremely happy that Douglas is not traveling to Brazil, that he's staying in La Continassa. What do we also know? That Thiago Motta, and that's a really big one, in training session, he's asking for exactly the same intensity and his games. We know it with Simon Collinet, non c'è più riposo, etc., etc. He's watching, he's asking, he's putting a real high level of intensity, and everyone needs to follow. If you're not able to follow, you don't play. As simple as that. You are not playing. Maybe you can follow, but not at what he's asking. Maybe other players are physically more prepared yet, and at that moment on, when he tries to do the squad list and then he's choosing his starting 11, he's not looking at names. It's not looking at the price tag, or if you are the new face that are obliged. He doesn't care. We saw a lot of examples. Savona, Bangula. Bangula is probably the image of the decisions of Thiago Motta. The Bangula that made a small interview here at Tubize, a few kilometers from where I live, because he's with the Belgium team under 21. Where he said that his life is changing, that now he goes in the street of Torino with his dog. He loves to do it in the evening. In the past, nobody was caring about him. Now people, they go, they ask for autograph, they stop him. He said, I preferred like in the past. So it's more an introvert type of player, but he's extremely happy. And he's also happy about how Thiago Motta is speaking with him. He's telling him what is going well, but also immediately really transparent, really honest what is not doing well. And he's saying when you have that second chance, that's the moment where you need to really prove to Thiago Motta that you understood quickly. So beautiful, and I'm sure that Douglas Luiz will understand it as well. What he needs to do to be a real starter of Juventus, what we are all expecting from, like also Koopmeiners. Koopmeiners, ragazzi. The Gazzetta dello Sport is making nearly a double page about Koopmeiners, saying, Juve, I am ready. He's working extremely hard to recuperate the training session that he was missing, and he will be, or they are sure that he is the real Koopmeiners already now, and that he can be a starter against Empoli or PSV or even both of them, because Koopmeiners is the one that we waited too long, and we always said that the one that can really change Juventus Football Club, and probably not only changing for himself, for Juve as a team, but also maybe for his teammates next to him, and maybe Koopmeiners in that team can insert Douglas Luiz a bit easier. Let's see. We are all expecting, of course, a starting 11 after Conceicao, Crack, and the players that are traveling, that are international break. The one like this one, with Di Gregorio into the goal. Kalulu, because Savona is gone, because Danilo is gone. Kalulu may be a chance against Empoli as a starter. Gatti, Bremer, we continue with these center backs. Cabal on the left. Why Cabal on the left? Because after Conceicao, Crack, muscular injury, hopefully not too long. After knowing that Weah is recuperating, probably Cambiaso can start in that role on the right side, Yildiz on the left, with Koopmeiners as a number 10, Vlahovic as a number 9, Douglas Luiz and Locatelli. Now, of course, we need to pay attention that a few days later you have PSV, so the management of energy, physical condition will be important to really understand who will play, who will not play. Kostic opening to Turkey for a transfer market. He will leave. Yesterday was again a meeting where they told him, Kostic, Filippo, with all the respect, you are not in the plans. And who can be his teammates? Not only Osimhen to Galatasaray, but maybe even Adrien Rabiot, that is still as a free agent on the market. Who will not be his teammates? It's Szczesny, because Szczesny said goodbye to football. yesterday, and I really want to finish the video with this one. Yesterday, a beautiful 1 hour and 10 interview on the channel of Luca Toselli. I was happy because Szczesny is a fantastic person. How many times did I say that he was a fantastic person? If you speak Italian, go and watch that interview on the channel of Luca Toselli. That is fantastic. Of course, this gave me extra boost, extra motivation to work even 4 times what I did today, because one day I also want a football player saying, Beppe, I choose your channel to do an interview with the Juventini of the world in English. That would be fantastic. Ragazzi, that was it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video, shorter as usual, but I believe still intense and with important news. So put a maximum of like. Don't forget, if you didn't, maximum of subscriptions. Grazie, forza, Juve.